Aurora street gang member has been sentenced to 50 years in prison for his role in a 1990 murder. Michael A. Luciano, 44 of Mesa, Arizona, and formerly of Aurora, was sentenced Wednesday by Kane County Associate Judge Linda Abramson to 50 years in prison for the Halloween 1990 murder of 24-year-old Albert Gonzalez of Aurora. Luciano was convicted November 7, 2008, of first-degree murder. Prosecutors presented evidence during the trial that at about 7:20 p.m., October 31, 1990, Gonzalez was shot to death through a window as he stood in his home on the 300 block of Grove Street in Aurora. The shots were fired from a grassy hillside adjacent to railroad tracks that were across the street from the home, prosecutors said. 2 other people in the house suffered gunshot wounds, but survived. Michael Luciano, along with his father, gang leader Angel Doc Luciano, ordered the shooting, handed out the murder weapons beforehand and collected them afterward, according to prosecutors. 2 others were convicted and sentenced in connection with Gonzalez's murder. In January 2009, Michael Luciano was sentenced to life in prison in the case. The life sentence was mandatory under Illinois law at the time because he had previously been convicted of murder. Luciano was convicted in February 2008 of first-degree murder in the June 29, 1989, shooting death of 20-year-old Willie Arce of Aurora. He was sentenced to 38 years imprisonment. Luciano was 17 years old at the time of both murders. The U.S. Supreme Court in 2012 ruled in Miller v. Alabama that mandatory life sentences given to juveniles are unconstitutional. As a result, Luciano's cases were returned to the trial court for resentencing. The 38-year sentence for Arce's murder stands, making Luciano's total sentence of imprisonment 88 years. According to Illinois law, the prison sentences are to be served consecutive to one another. Luciano is eligible for day-for-day sentencing because the murders were committed prior to Illinois truth in sentencing law, prosecutors said. Both cases were part of the multi-jurisdictional Operation First-Degree Burn cold case sweep indicted by a special grand jury in June 2007. Dozens of gang members and former gang members were indicted in nearly 24 cold case murders following investigations by the Aurora Police Department and the FBI. Michael Luciano was a leader in a violent street gang at a time when street gangs notoriously kept the citizens of the city of Aurora on edge, Kane County State's Attorney Joe McMahon said in a press release. Despite his young age, he was a violent criminal who murdered 2 people. When the citizens of Aurora began to push back against the gangs, he fled the community where he had inflicted so much damage and thought he would escape accountability, he said in the release. But as we've seen so many times, the past has a way of catching up to criminals. Good police work uncovered the truth, and he was brought to justice. An exceptionally long prison sentence is the only way to protect the citizens of Aurora and this state from him.